piano, so I just went pow, it is a gun. So thank you guys for being here, and welcome to our 6th annual Next Gen Tech Conference. This is a big deal for us, but most importantly, we hope that you will get what you want out of this particular experience. So before I start with any remarks, I want to bring up my co-founder and great friend, Bruce Lincoln. Bruce, come on up. What you are witnessing, I'm actually the real Clayton Banks, the quantum Clayton, he's from the future, but I'm here right now, and I am excited about today because one of the things we wanted to do with this particular conference was to ensure that you have an experience around technology. We're not trying to go too far out of our lane. Our lane is technology and innovation, and our particular focus is on how it will help people, how it will help all of us move in our lives and perhaps even get rid of some of the old systemic issues and problems that we tend to talk about all the time. We see a future, like Quantum Clayton said, which is all those issues have been solved because of embracing technology and innovation. So we're really excited about today because it's not just our voice that's going to matter. At the end of the day, it's really going to be our voice, your voice, our voice, and those that you touch and talk to on a day-to-day basis. It's going to take everyone to be a part of what we call this fourth industrial revolution. We showed that clip because we talked about it last year at the end of the conference. We said that next year we should be talking about World 4.0, the fourth industrial revolution, and here we are, we're actually doing it. So we're really excited about it. I'm going to have Bruce say a few comments, and then we're going to bring out one of the great MCs that we've had every year, which is Richard Louis, so give us a sec for that. But Bruce?
Thanks, Clay.
Yeah, come on, really?
So it's really great to see all of you and to have you all here because this is symbolic for us. This is our 6th annual Next Gen Tech Conference, and what it is the culmination of a number of things that have led up to this moment, and then it functions as the launch pad for what we want to do next. And as many of you have heard us talk about this idea of community as platform, we're not simply talking about Harlem, we're talking about a global community that basically can look at what we're going to do here today and then draw from that in terms of how we all want to make sure that there's an inclusive and equitable future that we all take advantage of. So the idea is that this is where we sit today and make the commitment to ensure that the fourth industrial revolution is actually not the dystopian area of the world where we hear so many negative things, but that this is where we see the idea of fairness, where we see the digital divide disappear in Harlem and thus then get applied to all the other kindred communities that we have. And as our good friend John McGallagher will attest to, it's not simply Harlem, it's rural communities as well, it's third-tier cities. All these places where if we do this in the way that we all are driven by our value system will really be world-shattering. So one of the things that's important for us to work from today is that we're here, it's a moment whose time has come, it's a culmination of 6 years of hard work, and we're all here because we all resonate around this idea of a better world driven by technology. So I want to now hand it back off to Clayton so we can move on with the show. Once again, give yourselves a round of applause. This is an important event. It can only happen here in Harlem, and thus that's why it ramifies globally.
Let me quickly talk about this facility that you're in. This is the National Black Theater, and perhaps a year from now this will no longer exist like this. It will actually be redeveloped. And so this could be, from what we understand, the last Silicon Harlem conference in this facility. And we're very proud to have been here for the last 2 years. And most importantly, if you don't notice, there's an octagon roof above you. You'll see that there's screens on all the walls here. All that type of production we wanted to make sure happened here. We see a lot of these things maybe in Midtown, downtown, Javits Center, and things of that nature, but we actually can do it right here at the National Black Theater. So we're really proud of that. It's an iconic building, so it's really awesome. The other 2 things I just want to mention is this type of activity cannot be done without a great crew of people. So I will be naming them off throughout the rest of the day, but between the sponsors, which we call our partners, they're not really sponsors, although some of them have write a nice check. but most of them are very much in line with what we're trying to do. So when we talk about our sponsors, we're not talking about sponsors just coming up and hanging out. They're actually working with us year-round. We have great friendships as well as partnerships that are creating sort of our vision, if you will, for Harlem, first of all, and across the nation. One of them is our very, very bottom line is everyone deserves a connection in the home. And when you look at this country, there's some 25 to 30% of people in the entire country that do not have broadband in the home. When you look at Harlem, it's 40%. When you look at East Harlem, it could be up to 50%. That means there are children that are not doing homework at home. That's a real issue that we are approaching, and we're making great progress. The things that we actually do. One of the things that I just want to quickly mention is public housing. All of us, anyone here ever lived in public housing? Look at that, 50 people. No, I don't see anyone put their hand up. I don't know why, but there are. Oh, there we go. So the point is that the reality is 1 in 4 people live in public housing or affordable housing in this city. And one of the things that we find is there can be systemic issues that come with that sometimes don't allow for the access and exposure to people in those housing units. So we decided, Silicon Harlem decided, what if we could go inside of a public housing structure and literally deploy digital literacy. So this past couple of months, we've been working in St. Nicholas houses. We were able to recruit some of those at-risk youth, and we literally took them through how to code and literally build their own website. So they came in, and even I was scared going into it because I had never been in a public housing, but I got to tell you, it was one of the great experiences because not only did the kids take to it, but they ended up creating almost like an agency for themselves to their neighbors, right? The neighbors became their clients, so they were literally interviewing these clients, if you will, about what would they like to see in a website, what are the things that they should focus on. As a result, they not only built the website from scratch, but they took into consideration all the information that they were able to get from their neighbors, and they launched it about a week and a half ago. It's the very first time St. Nicholas Houses has a website built by the residents for the residents. That is what I'm talking about. And we do those type of things because we realize that intelligence is distributed everywhere evenly, but access and exposure is not. So to the degree that we can figure out how to get that to the people, we think that's important because our motive is that we want more people on broadband because that's an area we love to be in. Well, if you're more digitally literate, the more you'll accept broadband and bring broadband into your life. So that's really sort of the way we look at it. One of the things we did last year, and I'm going to move on, but last year we did a deal. We literally got Charter and Spectrum to offer buildings in Harlem and across the city a bulk rate that right now is probably around $165, $170 a month. That's expensive for anyone, but they're giving that same package for around $40 to $45 right now. So these are the time to think that's a good thing. These are the type of things that close this gap. And I want to thank Joe Varela, wherever he is. I think he's right here in the front, and Ben Topper and the whole team that helped do that. But we're doing the same thing with T-Mobile and everyone else that has the exact same value, that everyone should have a connection. It only helps all of us. So with that, and I've got a lot to say today, so there's going to be all types of times that I'm going to be speaking as well as Bruce. But let me bring out my little brother, Richard Louie, who is an anchor at the MSNBC network, also has a great tech background, worked in Silicon Valley. He's and he's really much a friend and a Silicon Harlem guy. So, Richard.
Happy 6th birthday here.
Thank you very much.
How do you feel?
Hey, 6 is a magic number.
You look good for your age, I got to say.
Everybody's saying that.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, congratulations, Clayton. Congratulations, Bruce. It is always good to be here because, as you were describing why we're here and what technology means not only to Harlem but greater New York, and what you've done to bring in ideas that I think others would not realize can happen. And so making it to 6 years and 7 and 8, and you said there's 8 sides to this room, right?
There you go.
There you go. And so there's certainly my mic falling off my ear, which always happens here. It's great. So congratulations to all of you. Congratulations, Bruce.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Clayton. And thank you all for being here today. It's always a pleasure to be here because of the very reasons I brought up. And who do you like better? Do you like Quantum Banks or do you like this guy?
Well, I'll tell you, my sister said she was going to throw up to see two of me.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Well, which one looks better, you think?
Well, I think that Quantum is living in the future and has the great, awesome environment to innovate and do a lot of cool things, not talk about some of these old issues. But the current Banks, I mean, come on.
I think Quantum's better dressed, though. That's what I thought. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's great about today is we have many folks that are here to welcome Silicon Harlem for its now 6th anniversary. And we'll bring up many leaders of the community to address all of us and tell us why it's important to be here in this intersectional moment each and every year that we sit here as a community looking at technology and the way it can change our community, the way it can change education, our culture, our very ideas about the way we think about things. When he says next gen, both of them say next gen, they really do understand that we're in the midst of that right now in Silicon Harlem, and Harlem is a place to do it at. So without further ado, let's bring up our first remarks. Ben Kallos, City Councilman, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning.
Turn off your mics.
I'm council member at Ben Kallos. That's on every social media platform. That's even on GitHub. And I have the opportunity to represent the Upper East Side all the way up to East Harlem. And I just want to start by saying a huge thank you to Clayton Banks and Bruce Lincoln. Can we give them a huge round of applause for today's conference? He is a visionary CEO, the founder of Silicon Harlem, and their mission is to position Harlem as a location, as a tech hub, and as a jobs center, and we all need economic opportunity. And one thing that I did learn today is a little bit of the secret of his success. It always seems like he's able to do more than anyone thinks is humanly possible, but it all makes sense now that we know he has help from his quantum self in the future. I need one of those too, so I'm hoping if you're here, you get one. And so I grew up right here in New York City. I got to go to a high school in the Bronx called the Bronx High School of Science, and back in 1994, we had something called the internet. And we had a lot of terminals, monochrome displays where you could get on the internet, and you could use this tool called Gopher to go find different information from universities, libraries, and do research there. And we had three X terminals, which had a new killer app called Mosaic. And on Mosaic, you could access this cool thing called the World Wide Web. And I thought that was the coolest thing. We would have fights at school over who could use those three terminals. There were 2,700 kids at the school, but somehow I was always the one who got to the terminal. The secret was if you got there at 7:15, you could use it. And so while I was there, I was like, this is cool. I want to build my own website. And when I did that, all of a sudden, people noticed, and I was in a position at about 14 or 15 to start building websites for anyone who asked. And so I got to build a website for a company called Allstate. I got a chance to build a website for a company called Jumbo. At the time, they were competing with shareware.com and download.com. And I was making $15 an hour at 16 back in 1994, which was kind of a big deal back then. And it even caught the attention of the New York Times as the new after-school job. And I think you heard a lot of this from Clayton and Bruce, but if you can teach a young person these skills, they can literally turn that around almost the next day and use it to invest in their community, and whether it's building a website for their housing development, or every single faith-based institution needs a website because people need to know when their services are. And not only that, but they can monetize it. And forget websites. Everyone needs an app now. I don't even have an app. I'm hoping there's a young person here who might help me build the Ben Kallos app for government. And so as a government, we have a role with our public schools. We need to be investing in our students. I want to make sure schools have the same opportunity I did. It's one of the reasons I've always been supporting computer science for all. We've rolled it out to about 400,000 students, but we need to do more. We need to have tech training in schools. We need to invest in technology in schools. Since I've been elected, my schools didn't really have computers, so I spent $5.8 million buying new laptops for all the schools in my district so that they have the same access that I did. And one of the other things I think back to is when I went to Bronx Science, we had great computers, but my textbooks were 30 years old. And when I've been to schools since then, now they're even older, because I got older, and these textbooks are very Eurocentric. They're not culturally sensitive at all, and they tell a story that we know is already wrong. And if we can get to a place where we give every single public school student a laptop, all of a sudden, I don't need to necessarily spend billions of dollars a year paying textbook companies, building textbooks for Texas to tell me what my students should be learning. And we could say to the teachers, we could say to our students, why don't we co-create our textbooks? Let's make them culturally sensitive. Let's tell stories about your community and about heroes in your community so that we can actually have an education that is relevant. And I think that is something that we can do. And so the future is here, and whether it's 5G, AI, VR, AR, government needs to build the infrastructure and the facilities that will help build our future. And right now, one of the problems is we're kind of stuck. We're fighting over yellow cabs versus Uber, and can the government act as a market maker and step in and do one thing or do another thing at the same time as we're about 5 to 10 years away from driverless cars, where the question of who's driving what will no longer be the question. And so we really need to be adapting. We need to be thinking forward. We need to go to electric vehicles, and we're starting to finally build electric charging ports. Quick question for folks in the audience. When's the last time you charged your phone with a cable? Because I charge my phone wirelessly. Why aren't we thinking about what is the infrastructure the city needs to build so that a driverless car can literally just pull into a parking spot, sit there and charge, and then go pick up the next person? And so that's the kind of disruptive thinking we need to have. And as we think in the future, we do need to think about the history that we come from. And we can't leave anyone behind. We can't leave anyone on the wrong side of the digital divide. In Brooklyn, 1 in 4 households does not have broadband. If you head up to the Bronx, it's 1 in 3. And so that's a huge problem. And when there was a small company called Charter who said they wanted to buy another small company called Time Warner Cable, I actually called them and I said, what can we do to bridge the digital divide? And as part of their purchase, they created something called Spectrum Internet Assist. I was proud to work with them on this and announce it together. And what it says is if you are on free and reduced school lunch as a youth, or if you're a senior on supplemental Social Security, and it's about over 1 million New York City residents, according to my calculations, you can get broadband, 30 megabits, for $14.99 a month. They set the model, and all the other companies who offer internet in the city now have to follow their model. And I think they deserve a round of applause for that. And I'm hoping we can work with them to finally bridge the digital divide. And that being said, leave it to Silicon Harlem to go the next level to achieve bulk prices for this community. And whether you do Internet Assist or the bulk rate, let's just get everyone connected. And I just want to end on one important piece. I'm with the government. My budget is $94 billion. We spend $16 billion contracting with people like you in this room. And one thing I need to be honest about is if you want to do business with the city and you are a woman or you're a person of color, you will face discrimination. It is not something we've been able to get past. And so we have something called a Minority and Women Business Enterprise Program. Now that term minority, that's outmoded, but this program was created in the 90s. And what it says is that if you're doing business with the city, you should work with businesses that are owned by women and people of color. And so we are proud to be working with Silicon Harlem and Clayton and Bruce, who brought this idea, and we co-collaborated around this. So next door from 11 to 3, we have a number of city agencies, including Do It, which does our technology, and DCAS, even the MTA. And you can learn about how to get registered so you can apply for these opportunities. If you're already registered, we can teach you how to apply for the opportunities and even find them. And every single agency was told to come here today with millions, if not billions, in available contracts that you can come and bid on. So we're next door, and we're hoping that we can help everyone in this community join the future and have access to that same economic opportunity that has historically been a bridge too far, and we hope that this program can help. I want to thank everyone for being here today, and thank you for having me.
Hang on one second, council member, while I got you, because I like to ask questions. Why is Silicon Harlem important?
We need to make sure that every community is having access to economic opportunity, and most of that economic opportunity now is through technology. It's the fourth industrial revolution. It's why we're here for World 4.0. And we need advocates like Clayton who will say, hey, why aren't we doing these job fairs right here in Harlem? And now we're doing it.
If you had to describe Silicon Harlem in one sentence, what would it be?
Innovation.
And that's a sentence? That's a word, right? So in one word, it's innovation, right?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, council member. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Al Taylor, Assembly member. If you can come on up. I'll ask you questions at the end, sir.
You ask me questions at the end.
At the end, at the end.
Hey, good afternoon. Good morning. Oh, come on. We're in Harlem. It's fall. We're talking technology. We're talking about the Great Divide. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hey, listen, good morning. My name is Al Taylor. I represent the 71st Assembly District, and Silicon Harlem just happens to have space in my district, or I'm happy to be in this place that they're at. And I'm here this morning. I'm excited. And the more I listen to these guys speak, and I spent some time with Clayton the other day, and I'm like, I don't have a doggone thing to say. But then when I think about it, I have a lot to say, because this is the Great Divide. We're talking about leveling the playing field. And I was the only person that raised my hand in here that's from public housing, because I understand what happens when you're given opportunities, and broadband brings you that. Would anyone in here disagree? Okay, great. So Clayton mentioned two things: well, opportunity, access, and exposure. And I'm thinking about poverty. And this levels that playing field with respect to what's happening in our country, not only our city, when the majority of the people that don't have access to broadband, that do not have Wi-Fi and internet, looks more like me than some other folks. So when you talk about education, you're not going to get the best education because you don't have opportunities for it. You don't have access to it. So if we can change that paradigm, then we could do a whole lot more. I just spent 2 weeks in China, and technology was booming. And if we have access and we expose our kids, such as what he explained in the program that he did in St. Nick Housing, imagine the opportunities. Kids aren't going to fall behind. Kids going to have a laptop, a computer, instead of a gun in their hand. And it changes the narrative. So when we talk about poverty, it doesn't exist only in one community because of lack of something. So I'm not here to talk about technology. I'm talking about laying or changing the narrative so that brown and black kids can get access to internet. They can do broadband. They can do their homework. If they can conceive it, if they can see it, if they can dream it, they can achieve it. But it starts with having access. So that's why I'm here this morning, to talk about that and say happy 6th birthday. And hopefully, next year, if you're not here, the place is going to be so big. You want to get your tickets now so you can make sure you get access. That's right. All right? Is there anybody out here? Yeah. I don't know. Let me be totally candid with you. What I do on Sundays is different from what I do on the other 6 days. I pastor a church. And in there, I'm talking to families that sometimes have a loved one that's locked up, someone that needs access to something. They need tutorial assistance. They're looking for a program. They're always looking for something to get their child out of the city or to insulate them from the things that are around them, and technology provides that. So I am happy to be here to support my good friend Clayton, I like the other guy. No, I mean, we cool, but he was just so smooth, and I'm like, I want to go where he's going. And that's the future. I want our young people to know that there are opportunities, and it doesn't matter about your economics. It doesn't matter about your skin complexion. It doesn't matter about your zip code. You can fit in, and you can transform your life to whatever you want it to be, because the opportunities are endless when you have access. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Reverend, Assembly member, it's good to have you.
There's free breakfast, I'm there.
So tell us, as I was asking earlier, Ben, why is Silicon Harlem important?
Can you run that tape back that I just did? It's important for so many reasons, and I understand what it looks like. And sitting with Clayton, when I first saw him, I was like, what in the world am I going to say to that? But when you listen to him and Bruce and what they're talking about doing, and then going over to the shop, I call it the shop, it's in the neighborhood, and folks have access to come in and just do some work. You have startup businesses over there working.
Yeah.
So when you talk about communication, it's a message sent and a message received. And if you don't have access to the internet and to the broadband, you can't do those things. So sitting at home, kids are coming out of school, did you say one word answer?
Not yet. That's my next question. You're stealing my thunder.
Because at the end of the day, if you can go into the school, or even if you're not there that day, you can do your homework. There's this interactiveness, and our kids don't have it. Some kids have it, and I'm here, and I'm excited because this raises the bar, and it creates an opportunity to level that playing field.
It brings things together that aren't sometimes together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In one sentence, how would you describe Silicon Harlem?
Gold.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, as the Assembly member was saying, is anybody out here? Guess what? Now we're going to put house lights up because we're going to find out what you want to get out of today's conversation. And I'm going to bring back up Clayton and Bruce right now. And I don't know if we can get house lights up, but we'd like to hear from you in terms of why you came here today. Very quickly, please don't talk longer than 30 seconds. And let them know, because they're going to drive down that road today to try to figure out what are the questions that need to be answered. So, Clayton.
Let's take a couple minutes.
Bruce, come on up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well,
all right. Here they're coming. Okay, I'm curious what's going on over there.
We're coming.
All right, great. All right, so
all right.
I'm just going to go around and ask you
what we're trying to do here, if I can step all over Richard Louis here for a moment. So, and first of all, thank you, Ben and Al, for those great remarks. There's going to be a lot of that throughout the day. But what we want to do right now, just for a few minutes, not a long time, but a few minutes, rather than wait till the end of the day to find out maybe what you might have learned or what you might want to give feedback on, we wanted to start the conference with what are some of your expectations today, or what are some of the thoughts that you have, even perhaps what you've already heard, and just want to hear from you, right? I know this is probably unusual, but I know New York, right? New York has got a lot to say. So
they don't.
So we thought,
They're quiet folks.
We'll give you a shot. So raise your hand if you have a question.
No,
or a comment.
I'm just going to go to them.
Oh, okay, that sounds a good idea too.
There's no hands to be raised.
All right, great.
Yeah. What do you want to get out of
today?
today?
Anywhere you want.
Oh, let's see if it's turned on.
Is the mic
on?
Denzel, you got that?
Let's try this. Is it working?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your name? Ani. Fantastic. And what do you want to get from today's great gathering here at World 4.0?
Well, I'm a pitch judge for the conference, but I'm super excited about all the technology developments.
Yeah.
Not just happening here in Harlem, but also what's happening in Rwanda.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to see all the different.
That transnational ties. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. All right. Let's go over here.
Yeah. Let's support. If you don't know, we're having a pitch fest throughout the day between Rwanda and New York City. Let's see who wins.
All right.
Hi, my name is Amelia. I'm an educator, and you're absolutely correct as far as the necessity of our youth. I came here to just continue to support and follow what's going on and discuss, hopefully there's to be a discussion on how do we change or transition our youth utilizing the net from not only just games and gossip and social media, but actually to empower themselves and inform themselves to give them direction on a path for professional career, etc.
We are obsessed with that idea, and today we have a panel that basically is reimagining education. So I hope not only are you there, but that you'll add your voice, obviously, and I know you will.
Fantastic. How about you, sir?
My name is Brian Schwartz. I'm a physicist and educator, and
I'm sorry. The thing is, I think it's on. It's off now. Let me use my mic.
okay.
Yes. How about that?
All right. My name is Brian Schwartz. I'm an educator, and I'm working with a colleague to create something called the Harlem Gallery of Science in the new Tasty building on 126th and Amsterdam. We've already ran 2 exhibits here in Harlem, one on the science of basketball, and in fact we're working now with the legends who are partly retired NBA players, and the second one on the science of music. In fact, one of our speakers is your speaker, your guest speaker today, Stephen Alexander. So we're really trying to bring a facility which will be open all the time, open to the community, and really run by the community, and really partnering with City College, which is a big presence here and can do more, and we're working on that.
Thank you for being here. That's fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, the keynote speaker in the afternoon is a musician and a physicist. When was the last time, like Richard would say, why couldn't he just do one?
Yeah, just one, please.
So make sure you make that, to your point. That's a good one.
Fantastic.
Take a couple of more, Richard, then we want to get a couple of more speakers to come out, if you don't mind.
You got it. It's your show, man.
We've got some students here. Let's maybe see what they have to say.
Hi, my name is Angela Matheny from Colonial Consulting. I am head of Diverse Manager Equity, which means I get access to capital to diverse asset managers and women. Clayton, it's nice to see you. You and I were on the panel for Class Coalition a couple of months ago.
That's right.
I'm interested in the startups that are at Silicon Harlem. I know that Harlem Capital, a venture capitalist, is here in this community, and I'm interested in finding venture capitalists that are funding the startups and the innovative and creative things that are coming out of our community.
That's an awesome question. My office is right on 148th and 8th. I want you to come over. For those of you who have not been to our headquarters, we have actually allowed for part of our space for the community. So we have this really nice space, and the community is able to come in and do co-working and start their dreams with their startups. Love for you to come over and meet some of that. So let's make that happen. And any of you are invited, by the way. You should come. I mean, I've got a big announcement after Richard finally gets off this stage, but I have a big announcement about what we're about to do here in New York City.
You don't like me?
I love you.
Yeah. Back at you, brother. How about you?
Good morning, everybody. My name's Troy Wolf. I'm from the United Nations Foundation, and this is my first time coming to Silicon Harlem, and really just came to kind of learn about the vision and what the plan is, and just figure it out.
Awesome.
Great.
You will get a lot of that today.
UN Foundation here in the house. How about you, ma'am?
I just want to see what the future looks like.
See? Don't make me bring Quantum Clayton back. You know.
I mean, we hear so many things about technology, how bad it is, and this is a way to really use all the good things and how it will connect the world and bring people who are normally separated together.
I love it. I love it. You're in the right place.
What's one of the bad things that you think that you're curious about?
How long do we have?
We've got about 15 seconds.
Well, have you watched TV lately or listened to the news?
Not at all. I really don't know what's happened in news. I don't know if you've ever.
I'm Pollyanna. I want to look at the good things.
Very good, very good. I got one last comment back here, if that's okay.
My name is Mike Miner. I represent the Partnership for Urban Economic Development, which is a federally registered super PAC in Newark. Ooh. I made the mistake in '89 when I moved to New York to find a young, attractive, and smart roommate named Bruce Lincoln. I don't see that guy here today. But I'm here today to see how do we create the clearing to bring this kind of transformative technology to cities like Newark, New Jersey.
All right. It's interesting you say that because we've been working with a lot of cities across the country to try to bring this type of approach to building communities. We call it community as a platform. And you heard me last year, and we still are very excited about all the projects we're working on, attracting over $50 million into Upper Manhattan. That's never been done before. Advanced technology, test bedding, all this kind of good stuff that we are doing to help not only Harlem, but cities around the world, if you will, on using their community as a platform so that they can leapfrog in technology and never trail again. So I'm glad you said that. Let's go to Newark.
Well, Bruce, you didn't say a thing, and he was throwing down on you right there, and you didn't say anything.
That's because I got this big eye over here.
Yeah. Old friends, right? That's always good to see. How about you, sir?
Yeah, hi. I'm Ken Granderson, and I'm here to network. I've been doing technology for communities of color for the past 20 years. I just came back to New York from being in Boston, where I'd done things like setting up the empowerment zone, Roxbury.com in the 90s, and I'm here to try to network with folks and let them know about blackfacts.com, internet's first data-driven website that I put up in 1997.
Nice.
Fantastic, right?
Very good, very good. Ken is a loyal Silicon Harlem guy.
I create technology, and I'm trying to connect with folks who, want to encourage other folks who create it. I build this stuff. That's all I do.
That's great. That's great.
MIT guy, MIT guy. Listen, Richard, I want to get to a couple of speakers that are waiting, so
okay.
Let's do one more.
You got it.
Hi, my name is Robert Mitchell. I work for Democracy Works at the Voting Information Project, and I'm most excited to just hear about the potential for these new technologies to affect our civic participation, particularly around elections and connecting to our government.
Awesome, awesome.
That is awesome.
Every
That is
facet
awesome.
you have, every facet. Thank you all for your questions and comments, and I hand it back over to my two good friends up here, and we're going to move on to some exciting speakers now, aren't we?
Yeah, we will, and one of them is one of the sponsors of the conference. We've got the great Rodney Capel, lives in Harlem, is a great supporter of Silicon Harlem along with his colleagues. Come on up, Rodney, and Bruce, give him your mic. Take Bruce's mic.
You hear me? Hello? Okay. Well, I'm Rodney Capel. I'm Vice President for Government Affairs for Charter Spectrum. You may know us best from our New York One channel. I covered the New York City and New Jersey area, and as Clayton said, I am a longtime resident and child of Harlem. Grew up right on 135th and 5th, so this is in the footprint of my hood, and I now live on 148th and 8th, so I just follow Clayton wherever he goes. What about those shoes, right? Those are some shoes on him. It's fitting because, we have a modern-day Oz here, right? Who's building this dream utopia for us as we move forward into the future. And hopefully what we'll be able to do is be able to provide, as charter a business, some of the support that this great sort of group is doing to benefit our future. They talk about this being the 6th anniversary. I have a 6-year-old at home. To know that the possibilities of his future are endless because right down the block is a group that's working to make sure that access to technology is affordable and is fair and equitable is what it's all about. And we try to do that as well at Charter and at Spectrum. We have built learning labs across the city, many right here in Harlem. We have one at the National Usher Network. We've done one at the PAL, the PAL over on the west side. We've worked at East Harlem with putting computers and giving grants to local community groups so that they have access to broadband access and internet and computers across the city. They talked a lot about our projects. Ben Kallos, who I've known since he made my website when I worked at the New York State Democratic Party. Now that he's a member of the New York City Council, has been at the forefront of these issues and mentioned our great work on this Spectrum Internet Assist. We've been able to sort of spread that across the city, giving low prices for internet access for many of the constituencies that we want to serve. We want to see ourselves as a company that partners with communities, that is a neighbor, and that is bringing technology as the leading cable, internet, and phone provider here in New York State, with over 5,000 employees here in New York City. We are proud of our work. We are working to make sure that all the things that we provide for this great city allows for everyone to have access to it. They also talked about the great work that we are doing, Joe and Ben, who are here, and working with local developments here in Harlem. Our investment here is strong. We want to make sure that everyone has access. We have stores on 125th Street. We are opening a new store soon on 145th and Broadway. We're bringing jobs, we're bringing access. We're trying to make sure that we are providing all the things that we think that Harlem needs to succeed. And hopefully in the future we'll have Silicon Harlem, Silicon Jamaica, Silicon Bed-Stuy all across the city. So as many as they make, we want to be partners, and we're thankful for the partnership that we have. So thank you.
Yeah, well, since you're here and you don't like to do this, why is Silicon Harlem important?
It's personally important.
Yeah.
As a child of Harlem, to know that there's an endless possibility for whatever a child wants to do with their lives. Instead of just playing Fortnite all night or playing NBA Live, they have opportunities beyond that. They can create that.
And Silicon Harlem in one sentence. Harlem. Okay, there you go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Like to bring back up Bruce. Like to bring back up Clayton. Are you on?
Am I on? Okay, I'm on. We just got another one of our great leaders in the community.
Oh, let me turn off that.
What's all this noise I'm hearing? Okay. Somebody in here has the mic, right? Somebody in here has a microphone that's moving around? If not, okay, so we have one of our great electeds who has been working in this community pretty much all his life, has worked on the community boards. He's been a true civic servant, and we're very blessed to have him here. He's here to say a few words. And so let me introduce our great politician, elective, and leader, the great Brian Benjamin. Come on up, Brian Benjamin.
Thank you, Clayton. I feel like I'm at one of those tech conferences.
That's where you are.
With all these things here.
That's exactly where you are.
That is exactly where I am. First of all, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for coming to Harlem. For those of you who, I can't even see all of you, but for those of you who live in Harlem, I'm glad you're here. For those of you visiting, glad you've come. I am a big supporter of Silicon Harlem. I'm a big believer in very simple concepts, okay? We need to remember that the future of our country and our globe has tech written all over it. And if we don't make sure that all are tech savvy and educated and prepared for this new globe we're living in, we're going to consistently have issues where we've got jobs that aren't being filled, but yet we have unemployment, particularly in neighborhoods like Harlem. And so all of the activities that you are doing and that Clayton and Bruce are doing to make sure that we try to bridge that gap, I'm a full supporter of and want to help. I'm the state senator for this district. I represent Harlem, I represent East Harlem, and I represent the Upper West Side going down to 87th and Central Park West. And so it's a very diverse district, but I get to see some of the inequities across my district that are representative of inequities we have across the state, country, and this world. And so I'm glad you're all here, but understand that it's incredibly important that we educate our children and that they are very tech savvy. First of all, they are tech savvy as a consumer. I can tell you, I have some little nieces and nephews. They take my cell phone, and when I get it back, I've got all these new apps on it. I've got games I never thought existed. And so they're consumer savvy, but the question is, are they production savvy? Can they get the jobs? Can they get the coding jobs? Can they work at some of the major corporations in a tech capacity? That, to me, is where the issue is. And I think whatever you all are doing, working in conjunction with Silicon Harlem to make that happen, I'm a big supporter of. So enjoy the conference, enjoy the day, and just know that I'm the senator. I'm on I'm at the State Office building on the 9th floor. I'm available. I actually have a business background, and so I'm very committed to this idea of helping to bring up the next generation in business so they can feed their families and make us a more productive and better society and be great tax-paying citizens of this country of ours. So enjoy. Thank you for having me for a few minutes, and I wish you all the best.
So we have been working on a bunch of projects at Silicon Harlem. Where's Bruce? Bruce, get back up here wherever you are. But we have been working on projects for the last few years that have sort of defining where we see this is going for this country. One of the things you're hearing a lot about is 5G, right? You're hearing all that kind of 5G talk. We've been working on it for a few years. We're actually now dabbling with 6G. We are also working on what you might be hearing about edge cloud computing, which is quite necessary for everything from Internet of Things to all the autonomy that we're talking about, autonomous cars, et cetera. So edge cloud computing is important. So one of the things we did this past summer is we've been able, in partnership with Microsoft, to build and create the very first carrier-grade data center in Upper Manhattan. Never been done before. All data centers are downtown, so we were able to build that. We are now adapting it into an edge cloud server, and I want to bring out one of my dear friends who's helping us with that, Dr. Dan Kilper. Come on out. Give him a hand. So, Dr. Kilper has been working on these type of projects for many, many years, and he and I have traveled together to a variety of, programs from the National Science Foundation, et cetera. And so we're working together on several projects. One of them is called Cosmos, which you may or may not have heard of, but that's a city-based project that we are working on, and it's taking place in Harlem between Columbia University and City College along Broadway. But we're also working on the Edge Cloud computing project as well, which is where we're exploring how everyone can be connected and perhaps everyone can have a computer, because it's not just being connected, you also have to have a device in the home. So we're looking at all of that. You want to say some opening words, and then I'll take questions, and then we're going to get into the panel.
Yeah, absolutely. So just really excited about the things that are going on. And so Clayton mentioned this Cosmos testbed. It's one of a handful of testbeds around the country focused on smart city technologies. And it all started from some conversations that we had with Clayton and Bruce, and they said, well, how about Harlem? How about Harlem? And that quickly turned into, yeah, Harlem. That's the
right.
ideal place. If you're going to do smart city technologies, you need that technology to be working for all Americans. And where do you find a better swath of the representation of our country than in a place like Harlem? And also, so many of the challenges that everyday people are facing is right here. And so can we address those kind of challenges rather than in situations where people don't really need help, they're going to be using smart technologies no matter what happens, right? So it was really their vision that started this, and so we got the funding from the National Science Foundation to build this Cosmos testbed. And by the way, so the Silicon Harlem micro data center that he mentioned, that's going to be connected into the Cosmos testbed. So that's one of the hubs of the Cosmos testbed, and we hope that it'll really be a center for people to engage with this technology, to learn about the technology, and be able to use it. We have some, Brian Carter on our team is developing really advanced apps that use VR and 3D scanning technologies, and we're making that available to folks up here in Harlem so that they can try it out and start to innovate and start to learn how to use the technology.
Well, here's what's really interesting to me on our Cosmos project. It literally is like a test bed. And so we have companies, private companies, that want to run a variety of applications and radios on our test bed, because it's a network-based test bed where you can put applications and services on top of it. So an IBM, for example, will say, hey, we have something we want to run that may relate to Watson or whatever, and we'll say yes, and they can literally run their applications and services on our test bed. But here's what's most interesting is that we have done something that also had never been done before, is we said, why don't we teach the teachers in District 5, which has been a struggling school district. 20 some odd schools are in this district. And we said, what if we could teach the teachers there about what we're doing? Not only about the 5th generation wireless, but just overall technology, how the devices work, how we put radios together, how do we propagate signal, all these type of things that we share with these teachers, which then we help them to create curriculum, right? Curriculum that goes into the classroom. So now you got kids learning about what's happening in their neighborhood. And if one of those kids say, oh, you know, Mr. Banks, I've got this application I'm thinking about, you know, kids don't know where to go eat for lunch that's cheap and good. And so they can come up with that application and say, can we run this on your test bed? The answer is yes. So now you have a student from District 5 riding right next to IBM on the same platform. That's transformative. I'm sorry, that is some amazing stuff. So we're very committed to making those type of things happen with all these great access and exposure that we get. So I'm going to take 2 questions and we're going to move the agenda along. We've got one right over here, so I'm going to come out because I can't see you. Bruce, where are you at? Meet me halfway.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Marcy Keenan, and congratulations on the 6th. This is my 2nd year coming. I was so impressed last year. My company is called Preventive Lifestyle Assistance Network, and we're partnering with the CDC in order to help reverse prediabetes. I'm keeping it very tight and simple. Technology and health is huge. There's enormous synergy, a lot going on, and it's not happening here. So my question to you is, I'd love to get involved with your organization in terms of bringing health to the forefront of technology. It's missing in underserved communities, rural, and all of that. Medicare and Medicaid people can't do my program online. And it is important that they do.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and we're committed to that, so you and I will definitely partner. What we focus on is exactly what you said. How can technology move us forward, right? So in Harlem, if you don't know, there's some 6 bridges that come into Harlem. 4 of them are free. So you're looking at an infrastructure that is being dominated by cars coming through it. What does that mean? That means there's a propensity for particulates in the air. What does that mean? A high number of people getting asthma. So in order for us to approach those issues, we got to approach the entire sort of ecosystem that is caused by. So one of the things that most people resonate is when you can present facts. So we're working with the borough president and others on deploying devices that can, for example, trace the amount of particulates in the air so we can make a real case as to why we need to reduce the number of cars parked or traveling through our city. So food. One of the great things that I think about from a technology perspective is we've used technology to figure out the human genome, and I believe that that's going to be the next $1 trillion business. Because if you and I go to the doctor with a sniffling nose and eyes running and have the same symptoms, they'll often give us the same medicine. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that your makeup is the same as mine, even though we may have the same symptoms. So these are things that are going to be transformative in our lifetime. That's what I'm loving. So we're there. I'm gonna have to stop it there because we got some people waiting. But let Dan say his final words.
Let me jump in. So in the Cosmos Testbed, we want to experiment with and pilot new sort of delivery methods for smart medicine and remote health care. We'll have high bandwidth, low latency connections that'll let you do something that you can't do anywhere else in the world. And Clayton mentioned the edge cloud that we're setting up in Harlem here. So that's going to be a community edge cloud, and we want folks in the community to get engaged with that, and you can take advantage of the servers there if you need to store data, if you need to work with data, and you need that computing resources. That'll be there for you to work with in this community. Okay, great, thanks.
Hello? All right. Where is Lloyd Williams from the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce? Oh, here he is right here. All right, great. My good friend and mentor. Okay. Let me introduce one of the, is your mic working okay?
I don't know. I guess we're okay.
So let me introduce the leader of the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce and one of the great Harlemites that you'll ever meet, a historian, a teacher, a leader. This is the great Lloyd Williams.
Good morning. I don't know how great I am, but I'm honored to be here. I look in the audience and I see so many members of the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, and I thank you for coming out to be supportive of Silicon Harlem and this dramatically important initiative. Let me say that for the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, that this year is celebrating its 123rd anniversary of continued service to the Upper Manhattan area. As we move forward in the future, it is clear to the board of the chamber and their board members like Tony Rogers and others in the audience that the key issue that is on the forefront of our minds is technology. A few years ago, Clayton Banks and a number of us got together and we talked about digital literacy. I learned so much from he and Bruce. But one of the things we talked about was senior citizens and how they connect with the issue of technology in the future. And so we put together, over the course of a 3-year period, during Harlem Week, a focus on seniors called Demystifying Technology. And what we found from our discussion with the seniors who we were going to talk to so that they could be able to deal with the future is that they were already dealing with the future. We learned more from our seniors than we taught them. And so we focus on seniors and we focus on youth hackathons, but in between is you, the people in the room. So let me just end by saying this. Clayton has represented our chamber in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Australia, across the globe, because everyone is now focused on what's happening with urban America. And the key name when you think about urban America is Harlem. And so what's happening with Harlem as it relates to technology, under the leadership of Silicon Harlem, is resonating throughout the world. And so therefore, I thank you for coming out. Please pay close attention to what is being discussed, whether we're talking about broadbands or whether we're talking about cybersecurity, all of these issues. We are, along with Silicon Harlem, we are finishing a cybersecurity series that we started at the beginning of this year to also focus on that aspect of technology. So let me close, because your time is tight, by thanking you for coming out, by encouraging you to support Silicon Harlem. And I always leave with this point that is important to me. Oftentimes we believe that the person with the mic is the most important person. And as others have heard me say, the most important person in this auditorium today is the person next to you. It's the person to the right of you, to the left of you, in back of you, in front of you, because with all of the options that you all had today, to be anywhere in this world, you chose to be here on 125th Street and 5th Avenue at National Black Theater. So please make sure that you reach out to a minimum of 2 persons who you did not know when you walked into this auditorium and introduce yourself. Because no matter what Clayton says or Bruce says or the Chamber says about technology, it's going to be dictated by what you say. And so do make sure you meet each other. And that whole issue of digital literacy across the board, from small businesses to children in public schools to senior citizens, the future of that is in your hands. So I hope you take that very seriously, and anything the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce can do to help, count on us. You can reach me, but more importantly, reach Clayton. And I hope you have a great, great day. I hope you learn an awful lot, and I hope you meet the person in front of you, in back of you, next to you. And if you do that when you go out, it will have been a very successful day. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.